My name is Larry Joseph Frederick, and I was born in a little town called Seymour, Indiana. When I was 17, after I graduated high school, I went into the Marine Corps and went to Vietnam. When I was 19 years old, I returned, and I was a Vietnam veteran, and I started looking for a job. And at that time, I had met my wife, Gail, and she told me, hey, Oakland's hiring. So I went down and I applied, and then I was hired by Oakland PD. In 1972 to 1982, a 10-year period, I worked several positions within the police department. I worked SWAT, I worked motors, I worked accident investigations, and I was quite involved with the Police Olympics. I was competing as a power lifter, etc. And so by the time the 10-year period came, I was probably in the best shape of my life, and then that's when the accident happened. On the night of the 21st of August, 1982, I had come to work, and the captain said, hey, we have a ride along with you. He's a young guy who wants to know what police work's all about. Frederick, make sure you take care of him and show him all the hot spots. Let's find out if he's got the stuff to be a cop. He was with me the whole time, and about 11:30, when our shift was in, I was driving and I was on my way to get off work. And a car went by me speeding. And Doug says, you gonna let him get away with that? I go, oh yeah, you're right. I guess I better stop him. So I put the lights on him, but he didn't pull over. Put the siren on him, but didn't pull over. By this time he had moved over a lane, and I pulled up next to him, hit him with the spotlight, and then suddenly he went over completely. So the next thing I know, the only place for me to go is in front of him. So I turned to Doug and say, Doug, if anything happens, make sure you get on the radio, make sure you tell him where we're at, which I had taught him already early in the night. I get out of the car and walk to the safe side of the car. And at this time, the driver decides he's going to get out on the freeway. And I walk over to the driver's side, and I shut his door and say, don't get out here, it's really dangerous. And in that split second, I got hit by a car at 65 miles an hour, which flipped me up over that car, head first into the back window of the police car, which shattered it, and then flipped me 40 feet down the freeway. I didn't know it at the time, but I had suffered over 15 separate injuries, broken back, both shoulders blown out, the right femoral artery had been severed, the right pelvis, everything had been crushed, both knees completely bent out of shape. And Doug responded, and I was trying to get back to my feet, because in Vietnam, if you could get back to your feet, you were probably going to be okay. But he literally had to hold me down and then literally put his hand in the open wound and pinch off the femoral artery, because I probably would have had about 6 minutes to live. Over that next 48-hour period and 9 major surgeries, I used 110 units of blood. When I was in the hospital in traction, one day I had a thought that came to me, and I couldn't shake it. It kept coming back again and again, that someday I would ride across America and watch my son, Aaron, shake hands with the President of the United States. When I finally got home, I was still in a wheelchair. Then I progressed to crutches. Then I progressed to a stationary bicycle through the therapy. I could not bend my knees. My knees at that time were just almost straight. So I got on, they put me on this stationary bicycle, and I would rock back and forth, forward and back, until finally, many, many months later, I was able to actually make the full revolution, and I've never stopped. As I started my recovery, I started riding a bicycle, and at first I just went one just down my street. Oh good, I made it that far. And then pretty soon we went around the block, and then it was 2 blocks. And I found out that the more I rode, the better I felt. As I got stronger and as I felt better, I wanted to give back, because I had been given so much. And I got involved as a blood advocate with Northern California Community Blood Banks, which is a member of the America's Blood Centers. And it worked out to where we were able to put together the Life Across America in 1996. And Aaron and I, we were able to ride across America together, 4,266 miles, and we were able to stop at blood centers all along the way. We had huge blood drives, and we ended up in the White House, in the Oval Office, and I watched Aaron shake hands with the president. Our goals this year in Life Across America 2010 are to replicate the 1996 ride and meet or exceed the 75,000 units of blood that we did back then. You know, before I got hurt, one of the things in my mind was always seeing is believing. I had to see it to believe it. But what I found out through my recovery and through cycling is you have to believe you can do it before you'll see it happen. I had to believe I'd be able to get out of the bed. I had to believe that I'd be able to actually walk again and ride a bicycle. And by believing, then I actually saw it happen.